here we go, another shed video. So this one, I filmed this like before I finished doing the door because the rainy day I decided to do a few extra bits. So today I'm going to be putting together part of the door, so I'm going to be doing a framework. This video is all going to be making the door, but today I'm going to do what I can with it. So I'm going to make the framework. I'm going to lay him down on the floor, and we're going to put the door together, essentially. So I've already cut out the outside pieces. So I've got the left bit, the right bit. And the way I've made it is so there's 5mm of relief all the way around, so essentially the door's a centimetre smaller than the gap that it's going into. To obviously help it swing open and close, because if you don't do that, then it will get stuck. That's the bottom of the door. And that's the top. I'm not actually doing the frame that side, I'm doing it that way. So everything is screwing like that. Because I don't want the door to be too thick. Yeah. So that's essentially going to be the size of the door. So we'll screw this together. I've got some big screws for this, 6 by 6 or 6 by 150mm screws. So I'm going to screw this frame together, get it square, put a centerpiece in, and then we'll do some I'll cut out some cross braces for it then as well, and then I'll make for the whole thing nice and rigid, and hopefully that'll be alright for where the hinges bolt into. So yeah, let's see how. So yeah, I could have a hinge on the very top, hinge on the very bottom, then one in the middle. The 3 hinges should be enough for this door, so we'll give that a go. Door top and door bottom. So we're going to screw all this together using my impact gun, because I don't have an impact screwdriver as such, because the normal combi drill is not going to have the muscle to push these big screws through. Look at the size of them. That's what we're going to drive through. We'll give it a good shot anyway. We'll put two through in each bit. That should be enough. But we won't run this on full power because it's too much. It'll hit too heavy. There we go, that's one in. Does the job, this thing. I mean, it's made for cars, but has an adaptation for the screw end, so definitely does the job. Put her on speed 3. She goes on a lot easier then. That's that in. I started to split the wood a little bit, but alright. I probably shouldn't have gone quite so close to the edge. We'll be fine. Right. Right, last one. It's got some power, this thing. I split the wood as well. Not too bad. It'll hold. Not going to be a major issue. Let's see if it fits in the hole. Put the wood in the hole, as they say. It's not the squarest thing in the world. Is that top or the bottom? Door top. Then would have fit better that way. So it fits in the hole. It's not quite squared up, so we'll have to try and do something to square it up with, which is fine. So I say the best way to square it up is to measure from corner to corner and see what you get. Do 20.4. Do 21.6. So I think it's going to be quite hard to square this up. try that. $2.21. $2.21. Right. So that's the door somewhat squared up. Ideally now, we don't want to be moving this, so I'm going to put a few more screws in the floor. Keep everything where it is. And 21 on the button. $121 on the button. Right. That door is now perfectly square. That's exactly where we want it. Don't know if you saw what I've done, but I've essentially put screws in the floor there, screws in the floor there, stopped that bottom joist moving, and the frame is now twisted where it needs to be. So now it's got some screws there to keep it where it is. So we're going to do a centre bar through there, and then we'll do a cross one from probably there to there, and then there to there. Or no. Yeah, lock's going to be outside, so a corner one from there to there, and one from there to there. So we'll get it cut, measured out, and we'll put in what we need to put in. So I need to measure the width of the centre of the door, put a mark for halfway, and see where we're going from there. So we're at 197. So what is half 197? Goodness knows. 98.5 plus 98.5. Is that right? So 98.5. 98 plus 98 is going to be 196. Correct? Plus 2 halves would be 197. So yeah, 98.5. Is halfway. Measure the same this side. 197. So again, 98.5. Yeah, so that's our centre line for the door, that's where our middle beam is going to be. So yeah, I've got to measure the inside of that, which is 81.4. So 814 mil. Should fit in the centre nicely. Halaxir. Right, that's bang in the centre. I could put the lock just down from there, so that's not going to hurt. That's absolutely fine. So we'll ram a couple of screws for each side. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right, so now this is a difficult bit, so I've got to cut angled pieces. Or do I? Yeah. This would probably be a lot easier. I don't know. So if we measure at 119, we can figure it out after that. So we'll do 120 for good measure. Why is that short? Because that's the short bit, John. Right. So now what we need to do, so I can either jam it into the corners, like cut it out to a point, or, which is what I'd rather do, because it'd probably keep it squarer, wouldn't it? Or do I just chop them off at an angle and then put them in like that? Right, so we'll cut that off at a point, like so, and we'll jam that in the bottom corner. Now I've got to take one of these screws out, because it's in the way. Wrong drill. That one's too manly. Dump that into the corner. We'll work out where we need to be for this one. It's going to be a little off, but it'll work. That's the main thing. So it's not going to be quite a triangle, but it should do the job. There we go. Lovely fit. Oh. Rubbish in my eye now. Right. Now what I've got to do is drill into that now. Right, hopefully that will keep the door a lot more square. We'll give it another measure. On 21. 121. Right, now we're going to do the same again in this bit, but going that way. So I'm going to have to screw in from this side, so I'm going to have to make sure it's got a bit more meat there. That's fine. That's fine, we can work with that. This is our last bit of 2x4 now. We've cut into our last length. Right. Let's cut into that bit that way. So we'll give it a bit more meat there. That way. Oh, helps you stay against the square, John. There we go. So we'll cut that angle out, we'll get that in, and then we'll sort the other end out. That's that bit in. So then we're going to mark out the angles for this one. So we'll cut them roughly. Hopefully that will slide in there nicely. Then that should then keep the door nice and square. Get a better fit than that, look. Look at that. So we'll cram a couple of screws into that. It should be good then. It should keep itself square then. I say should. If it does, it's probably the squarest thing I've ever put together. Told you before, I'm not a carpenter of any shape or form or description. Right, she's in. So now, when I take all these other screws out, hopefully it will stay square, because if not, sod it. So, we'll take these two out. And it didn't move. Look at that. Proud moment for me. Alright. Never built a door before, would you believe? 121. And 121. Perfect. Right, stand that up, see if it fits in the frame. Alright, might need a bit of planing. But that is right, isn't it? Door top, door bottom. Yeah, so let's mix that way. It's just because it's sat on the floor. Anyway, you can't see that, can you? There we go, that's the door in. So, that's the majority of it. That's the framework done for it. It is square, it's just that it's leaning against the frame, so it won't float until you get the hinges in, obviously. But yeah. But then I don't think the frame's the squarest anyway. So yeah, when we get it hung, it will hopefully sit a bit better than that. So I've always got a planer if I need to plane anything off. We've got to get the lock in, put the OSB on it, batten, featherboard, all that good stuff, wrap it as well. And then yeah, we'll have a nice little door there. I think that's just, like I said, the squarest thing I've ever built, because the shed certainly is not square. Yeah, not too bad. I'm happy with that. I will take that as a win. So yeah, we'll leave that there for now. I'll see you when I come to do the next bit. Today we're going to continue with the door. So we're going to try and get the lock set in where it needs to go. So it needs to go down about that thick. We've got some chisels and whatever, some blade bits, so we're going to drill it out as much as we can. Chisel out, tidy it up, stick it in there. So we'll get on and do that. I'll do it. Make a series of holes, roughly around the same sort of depth, I guess. That's nearly where we need it. Just need to take a little bit more out. This bottom end there. Right. That's where it needs to be. So yeah. We'll get the front plate on. We'll get her screwed in, and then I'll be the front, so that'll cover that. Drill out where the hole is. And there we go. There we go. And that's the lock somewhat in. Cool. Now we just need to sheet the front of the door. Now I can close that. Not really the ideal way to do it, but because of the way the lock sits in the door, because of how far it sits in, we have to do it this way. So I got half a chance of getting the key in the door. Alright. Now we got the lock in to an extent. A bit messy, I know, but it's in. It's not going to go nowhere. Now we're going to put the sheets down. I need some screws. Alright. So chuck that one on down there. Go over the lock. Line that up with the bottom and the front. Or maybe just the front. Get some screws in there. Oh, that's a bugger. It's alright, we can live with that. So I brung a whole load of screws through here. Cut into the door a little bit there, into the frame, but that's not going to hurt anything. It's going to be a really heavy door. We literally need a sliver of this. Use that edge is nicer, I think. Now we know what we've got to cut out. And that's absolutely perfect, if I do say so myself. Alright, we'll get a whole bunch of screws in there, hold that in, and then we'll carry on to the next bit. Right, that's the outside of the door sheeted. So as you can see, the lock is in there quite nicely now, so that'll do the job. I'm not worried about how tight it is. It's there to serve a job, and I forgot to drill the hole out for the key, so I'm going to need to take this sheet off, mark out where the keyhole is, and yeah, go from there, so I can't do it with it down. Whoopsie. Right, so what I've done here is I've pulled the sheet off, I've marked out the edges of where the lock is, I've marked out roughly where the keyhole is, and I've marked back, because that's 60mm, so I've marked back 60mm, so I'm going to drill a hole there, roughly about the size of that hole, and we'll get the keyhole in, bolt that sheet back down, then we'll test the lock, see if it works. So 22 should do. Oh, we have missed the mark ever so slightly. That's alright, I'll just drill another hole. Take the rest of these screws out because they're not in my way. There we go. the truth. Oh yeah, look at that. Ideal. That's not going to be accessible from the other side because I don't need it to be. I'm just going to put a bolt that I can push across inside to stop the door from swinging open. Anyway, that's that bit done. I'm going to have to put extra battening on because of where the door hinges are going to go. And then, yeah, nearly there. Why not? Do I need to cut them off shorter? Probably not. Am I going to leave them that long? Yeah, might as well. Extra strength. So that's everything as it stands now. Sight around the lock, because you'll see what I'm going to do with that in a bit when I get the featherboard on. Going to create a little flap, because the key is not long enough to reach through everything to get to the keyhole. So I'm going to create a little flap from the featherboard that lifts up so I can get the keyhole. So almost like a little secret thing, but yeah, just got to get the featherboard on it, then we can hang it. Right, here we are. We're now at the lock piece. So this next board comes over here, but it covers up the lock, so we're going to notch this bit out. Then when we do the next bit above it, we'll notch that out, and then we've got a hinge to put on it, so we'll put a hinge on so you can flap that up and then get to the keyhole. That's the plan anyway. Whether it works or not, we'll find out. So let's crack on and get this done. Got some of the door done, so I've put batten up like that, batten up like that, because I've got offcuts, so I'm using as many offcuts as I can to hopefully overlap so you can see the gaps. And then I've doubled up here because that's where the hinges are going to go. So we've got one here. So what I've done here is I've cut out another bit of a featherboard, but I've turned it upside down and chopped the fat end off. So that's nice and flat now, so the hinge will bolt onto there into the batten underneath. And then I'll do the same on the wall, and I'll put the brackets in for the hinges. And hopefully it should open nice and flat without like lifting up, if you know what I mean. So obviously if you put the hinges on at an angle, the door's going to want to lift when you open it, which you don't want, because then it will keep trying to close on you. So we'll see what we can do anyway. So I'm going to notch that bit out, and then we'll try and do the hingy bit on that. Such a good little jigsaw, that thing. Worth every penny. Well, exactly expensive. I think it was less than £100, so can't argue with that. So I put a nail in there. I'll put a nail in this side. Hopefully give it a bit of extra support. Mind you, I don't think that went into anything, so I'll put another one here. And there. How far do we need to come? Up to about there. Alright, so that's where we need to notch out, but I have to see how big the hinge is, because it's quite a big hinge. No, that's not actually going to work. This hinge is too big. So I don't know what I'm going to do, because I haven't got any other hinges. Unless I take this bit out. Right, so this is where we got to so far. So we've got the cut out for the keyhole. We've got that there. I was going to try and do the hinge so it's behind, but I can't really do it. So I'm going to have to put the hinge there. And it's just going to have to be on show for now. If I can think of another way of doing it, I'll do it another way. But until then, we'll just leave it like this. Just means the hinge might get a bit rusty. We'll do what we can. I mean, the next bit of featherboard's going to go over that anyway, so it should keep it somewhat dry, I guess. I don't know. Things you have to do, eh? I'll put a door handle next to this as well at some point when I get one for it. Too many screws? Maybe. But it works. Like I said, I'll just grind them off with my grinder when I get around to it. Because I don't have any smaller screws. Right. so we need a bit here to fill that gap in where the hinge is going to be. So the hinge is going to be about there. So need a bit that's going to come up to there. We can trim off. What I'll do, find a smaller bit. Don't need a bit quite so big. Find a bit that's not quite so bowed as on. Cut that bit off. Slide that bit in there like that. Pop a couple of nails in. Just to hold it for now. So then the bracket will sit roughly about there. So that's where we want it. So that's basically what's happening. So that's now somewhat flat, or it should be anyway. Don't know how much you'll be able to pick it up on there, but it'll be flatter anyway. So then we'll continue to do the door. We'll do the last hinge at the top, so we'll have 3 hinges, and then we'll see if we can stand the door. I like that. That should work well. Now we'll see what happens. Let's give it a test actually. Yeah, worked well. Should work perfectly fine. Like I said, just got to take them tips off so we don't kill ourselves trying to open the shed door every time. Right, I'll continue this. I'll see you in a bit. Right, so we got all the cladding done. Still like that. It's cool. So we're just going to stick the 3 hinges on. I'll try and get them as square as I can. And then that hinge is not going anywhere. Ideally, need a coach bolt for there, but I think it's going to work by the time we got all 3 on. Right, here we go. Door fitting day. Battery's a bit low on this camera, so it might die. But yeah, we got to try and hang the door. I did primarily fit it last night, but it was catching, so I'm going to have to raise it up a little bit and then try and do something. So the only problem is it's a damn heavy door, so it makes it a bit more tricky. But we'll give it a go. So I put a couple of bits of featherboard on the bottom for it to sit on to raise it up somewhat. And then what I'll do is I'll bang a couple of bits in the edge here to push it that way, and then we'll try and hang it, see if it'll swing from there. Give it a go anyway. But yeah, she's heavy. Move the microphone. it too high now, you see. Now it's not going in on the top. Right, let's just drop down a bit. Problem is, because I'm not inside, I can't see what's going on with the bits I've got it sat on. Yeah, it's just catching on the top corner here. So, move that back, and he sits on one edge of it, then it's not going to be raised up quite so much. Build a shed, they said. It'll be fun, they said. It's not going to work. That is not going to work. Right, that's somewhat in now, so we'll get a bit of featherboard in there. Oh. Bash that in, and then put a bit in this side. Now I should wedge the door right over this way as far as possible, which is what we want really. So, yeah. We'll give that a go. And we'll try and get at least the bottom brackets on. Get the top one done first. And chew me drill bits up. And it's starting to rain again. Because England. Right, if I can at least get this bottom one on before it starts getting really bad, then we might be alright. Right, we'll do them. We'll pull these bits out if we can. There we go. Oh, look at that. Alright, so I'll get the rest of these brackets in before it rains too much. There we go, we have a door that works. Alright, so get these bits in. Ugh, horrible, horrible rain. Why do you judge me so? So glad I got the roof done yesterday. Alright, ain't gonna work. Right, I'm gonna have to redo that bit, but first I'm gonna get out the rain, because rain's horrible. Right, before you get too wet. Oh dear. Alright, so all I've got to do now is put the middle bracket on and then essentially make some chocks to straighten out the featherboard, and then the door's hung. But yeah, it's going to be dark in here though, because I ain't got no lights yet. And I didn't put any windows in because I don't really want any, to be fair. Just touch on the bottom a bit, but I'm not too fussed. If it does sag over time, then I'll rectify it when that happens. Oh, I thought I was going to get a bit of a break from the rain, but not enough to just finish up one little task. Never mind. Right, I'll see you when it's done, when we're on to the next bit, which will be cutting out the bit for the lock. Alright, obviously the weather's not really been on my side today, but we have a closing door. It does catch on the bottom bit down there somewhere, so I might just like sand the corner of the floor off because it's easier than doing the door, because I don't fancy taking the door off again because it's been a bugger. Weather hasn't helped, but I guess it does close. That's the main thing. I might put a bit of featherboard on the edge to cover the gap. I might, I don't know yet. So I've got all 3 hinges on. Just readjusted that one, but hasn't really made much difference. Problem is the door's square, but the frame's not quite square, so it's not quite lining up. But that's about as good as I can do without shaving the bottom of the corner off. I did break the bottom slat there, but I might just chuck another nail in there to help it out. So next task now is to cut out the bit that the lock has to go into in here somewhere. So yeah, I'm going to try and do that. That's the plan anyway. Mark on there, and I should be able to transfer that mark inside with my set square, wherever that may be, over there. So that mark, and that mark. So that's the ballpark of where the lock's going to be. That way I can transfer the marks on now. I should be able to work out roughly where I am. Alright, put that there. And that's what we've got to trace out. So we've got to cut out about that much. So it's going to be a chisel job and a spade bit to cut out the gap for that. So yeah, fun times. So we'll mark out that as well. I'll go a bit deeper than that. There it is. Right, so we'll just chisel this bit out. Needs to be deeper than that. Yes. Let's see if we can get this bit sort of knocked down a bit. Be nice if I didn't have raindrops dripping on me back. Raindrops keep dripping on my back. I want to take a sliver off these already. Unfortunately, chisels aren't sharp enough to be able to shave it like that. They're only cheap ones I got from Wix. They do the job. I think that'll do. I think that'll pull in tight. So I've just got to get a bit more out of here. I'm going to say there, we are golden. It's not quite flush, but then the door doesn't sit right up against the frame anyway. So. Let's see how well this works then. So we'll shut the door. Oh, I'll just put that bit away. And there we go. We now have a lockable shed. I do. That's what we like. Jobs are good. I don't know how much it catches on there, but it's enough to stop the door just coming open. Yeah, it's got a fair bit in there. It's enough to stop it anyway. So yeah. Happy with that. I've got a handle to go on it, that's coming later. Need a handle for the inside already, but then I might sheet the inside of the door. But I'm not going to go right up to the edges. I'm just going to sheet it from like here around, maybe. And then I'll put a handle like here, and then a slide bolt here, which I'll drill a hole into here for. So that's not the door complete just yet, but that's as far as we got. We now have a lockable structure, so I'm happy with that. Till next time, hopefully when it's drier.